Hi, people. This is DJ.
This is Ish.
And this is season 3 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
I would eat the entire docena.
I know. You know what?
I think I ate about 6.
I wanted to get, like typically I would get like Mojo or something.
Right.
But I'm in Hialeah.
You were Hialeah, yeah.
And it's funny because the Krispy Kreme in Hialeah, obviously now because of coronavirus, all drive-thrus are full always. But that Krispy Kreme, because it's Hialeah.
Well, it's Hialeah. No, but the Krispy Kreme drive-thrus are always packed to begin with.
No, but this one's always packed with like 20 cars.
No, but see, the one that was on 163rd is the same.
The mall at 163rd. This one's always. So I was like, oh, let's bring some donuts to sweeten the deal. Who doesn't like donuts?
Communists. Oh. Vegans.
Oh.
Because it's got lard.
Oh, I have a great vegan story that I'm going to bring up. So
First,
speaking of donuts, welcome to episode 119, everybody. I mean, really, listeners, who doesn't like donuts?
it's true. It's true.
Our soft spot officially is for Mojo Donuts.
Of course.
We love Jimmy and we love the Mojo Donuts family. And I mean, their donuts are like.
I mean, what's not to love?
Because, we could love Jimmy a lot, but if Jimmy made a crappy donut.
We would not be talking about Jimmy's donut. Absolutely not. We would be like, tremenda buena gente.
Yeah. We'd be talking about how nice he is.
Jimmy's tremendo tipazo.
No, but freaking, oh my God, Mojo Donuts. I love their donuts. But Mojo, you need to open up in Hialeah. So
yeah, they're in Pembroke Pines. They're in Westchester. So Hialeah is the middle point.
Yeah, and in US 1.
No, but I'm saying like
yes,
el
it's
extremo.
La ciudad que progresa. Come on,
Yeah.
They're opening up a Chick-fil-A, so
Oh, hate chicken.
the homophobic chicken.
The homophobic
Pero como yo digo, but why does it so good?
Why does hate taste so good?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why people are racist.
Because of Chick-fil-A.
Because it tastes delicious, even though it's exhausting.
Oh my God, and their Chick-fil-A sauce. Anyway, let's not go there. So welcome to episode 119, everybody. ¿Cómo está todo el mundo?
Oh yeah, if you're in Miami, I do hope that you guys are doing well and not too wet. Porque la verdad que se ha pasado la semana entera lloviendo.
Tell me about it. So, since I am now a bike rider.
Oh yes, that's true. Yes, tell me, Lance Armstrong, about your journeys.
I have both of them.
What? Both of what?
You didn't get that?
Oh, I was like, wait, both of what? I'm like...
I am not like Lance Armstrong. Listen, we did a whole Manscaped campaign.
This is true. We're very familiar with what one has and doesn't. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, there I am riding me mojo todo because, I go through puddles. And it's like,
But why don't you go around the puddle?
Well, because sometimes a puddle, I'm riding in the middle of traffic.
Oh, wait, okay.
Sometimes
that's true.
I don't have a lot of
You
options.
already got hit by a car. We don't need to.
Yeah. So,
we don't need to have that happen again.
So, anyway, before we talk about anything, ¿qué tú me dices a mí of the Martha Stewart thirst trap?
I'm a little horny for her.
But you know what the thing is about Martha Stewart? A lot of people don't know that she was a model.
She was a model.
Have you seen her pictures when she was a model?
She's still beautiful.
But her pictures when she was a model, she was stunning.
She was stunning. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people probably don't know that she has camera presence.
Right. She knows how to work the camera.
Yeah. Because that picture, I was like, pero mírala ella.
Let me tell you something about Martha
she's
Stewart.
on Tinder.
She's on Bumble, she's on all that shit. Let me tell you something about Martha Stewart. The best thing about Martha Stewart is you can tell, she knows her way around the bedroom, But the best part is that that depending upon what the level of exercise, shall we say, that's the treat you get after. Like just a quick rump in the hay, she'll probably just make you like little cream puffs, you know. But if you go full out, a couple of hours, you're getting a rack of lamb, you're getting Brussels sprouts, there's just no holds barred.
You're getting the 7-course meal.
Yes.
Pero good for her. Good for her. Swimming in her pool all sexy and shit at 78.
Yeah, 70. Shit, I wish I looked like that at 41. Shit.
I have a picture here. Mira, que exótica.
No, and again, what do I always say? You have to know your angles and your lighting.
Yes,
And she
again,
does.
and she does.
She
Again,
does.
because she's a model. She was a model. You know, a lot of people think that she just popped on the scene. You know, when in
as
the 90s
as a
when,
home guru.
when she started doing all that stuff.
No, Martha hace rato que está
Martha
dando
has been
vuelta.
around. Pero bueno, to bring back
Based on that come hither look, she's definitely been around.
Oh my god. You know what? If I dated
Martha Stewart?
Okay, let's pretend that I would date Martha Stewart. Like, I'd be so intimidated to I'd just be intimidated because, you know.
I'd be so intimidated I wouldn't do anything.
Yes, but I'd be so intimidated to make anything.
That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't do anything.
Like, okay, I can't cook. Even
it's
if
wrong.
I think I cook well, you know.
Right.
It's Martha
It's not
Stewart.
Martha Stewart.
I can't wrap a present
it's
because, you know.
Martha Stewart.
I can't make a bow.
Forget about folding a fitted sheet.
No, forget about getting her a present in a gift bag. You know, she'll be like, ugh, this is so ordinary.
She's just always getting a gift card.
Yeah.
And, you know, she'll get a gift card to, like, one of Snoop Dogg's, you know, restaurants or something. Because, you know, they're BFFs.
I love when they introduce her and Snoop Dogg. They're like, one of these people is a convicted felon.
The other one is Snoop Dogg.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martha Stewart. I think that gives her awesome cred.
She's wonderful.
She's wonderful. So anyway, when I mentioned something about vegan, and when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, I have to bring it up on the show. Did you hear about the lawsuit against Burger King and the Impossible Whopper?
I did. That's...
It was dismissed this week.
Oh, okay. That's why, because I'm like, I feel like this happened a while back.
So
but okay.
the lawsuit, but it was dismissed this week.
Okay, got it.
And it was here. It was in Fort Lauderdale. So what happened
because they're
was
based out of South Florida.
So what happened was that Burger King is the first major. Definitely hamburger chain, but fast food chain that I can think of that is serving Impossible meat via the Impossible Whopper. So just for those of you who don't know what the Impossible meat is, it's actually not proprietary from Burger King. It's a company called
brand,
Impossible that they've made a meat substitute that
like home patties.
Yeah, it tastes it tastes like meat and the texture is like meat. Have you had the Impossible Whopper?
I have not.
I've had it several times. I actually think it's very good because the thing with Burger King is that Burger King's burgers have it's a flame broiled.
Char grilled, yeah.
Yeah, it's a flame broiled taste. So that's a very easy taste to replicate. So I'm sure that through the spices and whatever that they add to it, they make it taste flame broiled. So it's an easy flavor to replicate. I don't know how their other products like Impossible would taste like, but the Whopper actually is great. So Burger King had, advertised this for some time that they have the Impossible Whopper, which is a meatless Whopper. But your favorite people, the vegans
oh,
who go to Coachella and do CrossFit.
Have opinions with capital O's.
The vegans. Several of them sued Burger King in a class action suit.
Okay, it was a class action.
It was a class action suit because Burger King was not cooking the Impossible workers.
The Impossible workers. They were not cooking their employees. Okay,
they were not cooking the Impossible burgers on a different grill than their regular burgers.
Okay, so it was vegetarian, not vegan.
Right. So these people were like very upset because now they were eating some type of meat residue that may have been on the...
Thus proving que no te vas a morir.
On if you eat or whatever. So the court dismissed... So they sued Burger King for false advertising because they were saying that this was not vegan, but the thing was that in their advertisement
they never said it was vegan.
They never said it was vegan. They just said that it was a meat substitute burger.
Substitute, that's it. Yeah.
Right. So they lost the suit.
Good.
And the judge said that they have options, and that if they wanted to go to Burger King, if they wanted vegan options, Burger King was probably not going to be your first choice anyway.
Ding ding ding.
So, and also, again, that they never claimed to be vegan.
Yeah, they don't.
And then he also undid the class because he said that people's claims were very different. One person said that it was for health reasons. Another person said that it was false advertisement. Another person said
so they weren't even on alignment.
that they felt lied to. So it was for different reasons. So when I saw that story, I was like, I gotta bring that up. I gotta bring that nugget of joy to you because I know you're gonna enjoy that since you love the vegans.
Vegans, Jesus Christ. Look, if you have to eat, look, I get it. People have allergies and people have choices, and that's great. But you know what is it? It's the old adage. How do you know if somebody's a vegan? Oh, don't worry, they'll tell you. Mm-hmm. And to your point, it's like, coño, si a ti no te gusta comer carne, I don't think Burger King should be your first choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like was this the story you told me about the time that you were at the Olive Garden? And the guy behind you.
Oh my God! I went to the Olive Garden a couple of months ago before COVID. I think it was
like January.
Yeah, with my parents, and the man in the booth next to us. I was about to turn around and be like, "This is the Olive Garden, okay? This is not. There's not an Italian chef in the back.
This is not farm to table. This is not. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Cooking everything from farm to table ingredients." Aquí todo comes mixed, okay? That's why you could afford to stuff your face for $10.99, right? Right? He wanted to know all the ingredients in the carbonara, which the carbonara in the Olive Garden is terrible. It doesn't taste like carbonara at all, right? Because carbonara is it's egg-based, right? It's pasta pretty much with raw egg.
I'm sorry.
And bacon. And
so ya empezó con el pie izquierdo.
Right. So he wanted all the ingredients to the carbonara. So I remember the waiter, which God bless his heart, was like, okay, it has like pasta.
Right, he tried.
And it has like
an egg.
Pancetta. It has Alfredo sauce.
Right.
What is your Alfredo sauce made out of? So it was like an outline. So, okay, your pancetta.
I honestly would have been like Alfredo Molina.
Okay. So what is the Alfredo sauce made out of? So, okay, and we also put like an onion. What is the onion sauce made out of? Okay, where's your pancetta? Like, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I wanted to turn around and be like, dude.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. You're at the Olive Garden. Cómete la ensalada con los pan y no jodas más. No, and when they brought him the chicken carbonara, he got mad. He got mad because apparently he wanted the chicken on the side. So I'm like, so you want carbonara pasta with chicken on the side, not chicken carbonara, right?
You can't even order it right.
And he got super mad, and like he was like, "Oh, the guy was like, "Do you want me to remove the chicken?" And he's like, "No, because the chicken now has the sauce." And I'm thinking like, "But you're gonna eat the sauce anyway." So it's like, oh, that was a Karen. That was a Karen.
That was a Brad. Should that be the male Karen?
I don't know. I don't know. Actually, speaking of Karens.
Karens.
So I think we should have like a Karen corner.
Karen corner.
Every episode for now, since Karen is on brand. So there was an issue actually that happened in Fort Lauderdale this week with a Karen.
Really?
Yes. And it made the news. So I want to mention obviously what happened and then talk about obviously, Karen. So there was this lady who was a black lady and her son who were at a public pool. Okay. So apparently the lady, she used to be a swimmer or whatever, and her son was also swimming. So they were using the lanes of the pool.
Okay, as swimmers.
Like they were swimming, right.
Okay,
they were using the lane. They weren't in like the,
They weren't just hanging out.
Right, in the other part of the public pool that you just go and hang out, right? So I guess her son was like in lane 1 and she was in lane 3.
Okay.
Karen was in lane 2. Okay?
Okay.
So
probably highly chlorinated, so probably okay.
So Karen was in lane 2. So apparently the lady in lane 3, because again she was practicing her swimming and so was her son, they were making some type of comments to each other,
like go faster
or whatever,
or refine your stroke or whatever.
From lane 1 to lane 3, right? Okay. Karen in lane 2 had a really big problem with it and told her to shut up. Or like to keep her voice down. And the lady was like, no, like I'm talking to my son about his swimming while I'm swimming. Right. And because, and the reason I bring that,
even if they were together, even if they were in the lanes next to each other, I would still say you would still have to be speaking fairly loud because with the water and the echo and everything, she couldn't whisper.
Right, but you know, even if they were speaking loud, there's a difference between speaking loud and they're just being like havoc, right? And yelling. Right. So I'm like, I'm sure this woman wasn't yelling, and if she was telling her son this type of stuff, like, oh, you know, technique or whatever, how disruptive can that be?
Right.
Well, Karen wasn't having it. And apparently Karen and her, you know, she told Karen to leave. I'm sorry, Karen told her to leave. The lady to leave. Okay. And the lady happens to be black. So now obviously with everything going on and how sensitive things are, you know, the lady was like,
did Karen mean it because of a black thing or
you know, or but not, the lady was like, you know, like, why does she have to pick on me? Right? Is it because I'm black? Right? So Karen obviously went and told the manager of the pool. I mean,
that is her favorite person.
Right. And the manager apparently was like, ma'am, there's nothing that I can do.
Right.
So Karen called the cops. And the cops came.
Because, of course, when you call the cops, they show up.
Right. The cops came.
Which is part of the issue at hand that we're dealing with. Right. We're calling
you know how many cops came? 4.
But what did she tell them was happening?
I don't know. She told them and they came.
Was she throwing? Did she tell them that the lady was throwing toasters into the pool?
The lady, and this is on video. This is on
this part's on
video. The lady was like, "Look, I'm here swimming with my kid. You know, I was not being disruptive because all these public pools." Which most public parks do. They do have in their rules that you can't be like disruptive, like loud.
You can't be a bochinchero.
Right. And the lady was like, look, I'm here swimming with my kid. Like, I wasn't being loud or disruptive. Yes, I was talking to him, from one lane to the other. But, she didn't like it. She could have gone to another lane. Right. Those weren't the only 3 lanes. Bueno. The lady and her son were told to leave the pool that day. And Karen was kicked out of the pool for 3 days. And they sent her a letter saying that if she came back to the pool, she would be arrested, right? And the manager quit.
The manager quit?
Yes, the manager quit. And now the lady and her son.
Did he say why he quit? He's just like,
because
he's like, I'm done with this.
Right.
With this bullshit.
And the lady and the man and her son are planning a swim out. In protest. Because they did tell her to leave. They told both of them to leave. They actually shut the pool down.
They're like, fuck it, nobody's swimming today.
So she had to leave, I think, that day, and then Karen couldn't come for 3 days, right? So it's funny because I think it was NBC. NBC tracked Karen and knocked on her door, and Karen wouldn't open the door. But I bring this story because now it's all about
how
the
do
Karen.
You do a swim out?
I don't know. People are gonna jump in the pool and like, I don't know. So this is what I say. This might have been racially motivated. Mm-hmm. Karen could be a effing racist,
right?
As they usually are,
or not.
Let's
take that out of the equation.
Let's pretend that it was.
Let's give the benefit of the doubt,
which I think it was. But let's pretend that it wasn't. That this was not racially motivated.
Right.
Okay. And let's say that Karen was legitimately bothered,
right?
Annoyed that this woman was talking, among the lane. Okay. Why on earth would you call the police for that? That is the part in all of these situations. That is where my disconnect is. Why would I would never, ever think of calling the police for something like that? Like, why would you do that? Like, this is why when they make all these videos of Karen on a rampage, calling the police, that's why they deserve the shit that they get. Yeah. Because it's like, why would you call the police for that? You know what? Tell the lady, and you disagree with it. You know what, Karen? Just walk away. Walk away, Karen. But
what are the cops?
That is the part that boggles my mind.
But here's the thing that I have to. This is also why I asked, what did she tell the cops? Because I can't imagine that and this is probably, I'm sure, a bigger conversation to be had. If you call 911, if I call 911 right now and I tell them, I need 911, what's your emergency? Yes, I need a police right away. Okay, sir, what's going on? There's a man standing across the street yelling at me. If I was an 911 operator, I'd be like, yell back. What do you?
Well, but no, because we've seen what could. I don't know. I haven't heard the 911 call in this case. But
okay, so what hers was going to be like? I was swimming and she started yelling.
Right, but as we know from what we saw a couple of months ago with the whole Central Park bird watcher thing,
that's why I asked. What did she say?
That woman who was withholding with the leash of her dog, that woman weaponized that man's race immediately. And a black man is attacking me.
That's why I'm asking. That's what I'm saying. I would love to know what it is. Which, by the way, to that man's credit, do you know that even though the cops, I think, filed the charges against her, I forget her name, Central Park Karen, he has said that he does not wish to
prosecute
her.
I heard he wasn't cooperating
because he's like, you know what? I'm not gonna give her any more time of day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna let her ruin my life and blah blah. So I'm like, you know what? Good for you for being the bigger person. But bueno, back to this at hand. But that's why when people say things like, you know, and again, you and I've had this conversation. You know, when you defund the police is the wrong way to say it because it makes people think that automatically it's like, well, police are gone by. What we're trying to say is, in instances like this, to send 4 cops to some random bitch upset that, you know, she was yelled at in a pool, that's not a police matter.
No.
That's not a police matter. But because they call and they report and they know what words to say or how to say it, shall we say.
The Karens.
The Karens, yes, the Karens.
Right, because the Karens know how to victimize themselves.
The Karens are like esa gente que acaban de llegar de Cuba y saben hacer todos los Medicare fraud. They know how to dar la vuelta to get what they want. Okay?
It is... I mean, we're not saying anything that people don't already
new,
know, but it is like the ultimate sense of entitlement that you think that you can just, when you are upset at something, at the way that it's going, that you can just call the cops.
It's the ultimate Veruca Salt syndrome.
Yes. Oh my God. Why didn't we call her Veruca? Karen should be called Veruca Salt.
Should be called Veruca.
But Daddy, I want to go to Goose now.
Yeah. It's the ultimate, you know, it's VSS, Veruca Salt syndrome.
Do you know my favorite thing of that scene is? The scene when she's a bad egg. When she falls in the chute.
Yeah.
And then her father goes after her. Willy Wonka goes, well, Mr. Salt wanted what he... No, Charlie's grandfather goes, oh, well, Mr. Salt wanted what he got what he always wanted. And Charlie's like, what is that? Veruca won before him. I'm like, man, that's really grim. Like,
that movie and that book is very dark.
She's so amazing. Veruca Salt and Willy Wonka, forget Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
Veruca Salt, from the casting to the way it was written, it's just amazing. It really is. Like, there should be a Veruca Salt appreciation hour.
Maybe there is. You know, listen, there's national days for everything now.
Listen, Veruca Salt inspired the Karens.
I don't think we should celebrate that.
No.
I don't think we should celebrate that.
No, we shouldn't.
No,
we shouldn't.
No, maybe not.
I know she's like, I want a party, children and laughter, 10,000 pounds of ice cream.
I got so much ice cream.
And if I don't get the things I am after, what am I going to do? I'm going to scream. I love... Actually, again, it's one of my favorite parts of the movie. All my favorite parts of the movie are with her. When, at the very beginning, when they go to the chocolate factory...
Okay.
Listen how we were talking about Karen and racial profiling into Willy Wonka. When they first go into the chocolate factory, they have to sign the contract.
Yeah.
And Veruca's dad is like, I don't sign something that I read. And she pushes him and she looks at him and she's like, get out of... No, she goes, you're always getting in my way. She looks at him. It's like...
Hatred.
But yeah, Karens suck.
They do.
They really, really do. Karens need to go away.
They're just petulant children.
They really are.
That's all it comes down to. And unfortunately, we have a system that rewards the behavior.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, what happens is, like we said, what they say and what the reality is are two different things. But based on what they say, it could be a true situation. So you have to err on the side of caution and show up. You know? But we all got to pay for that. That's the beauty of it.
Yes.
It's all taxpayer funded.
Mm-hmm. So... Anyways, so how is everybody doing?
Well, I will say, I think that everybody has been saying, you know, what's going to happen now in July? It took a while, but I think we finally found what the bad July thing is.
What?
Today, Taylor Swift's releasing a new album.
After Lover?
Yeah, she's releasing it. It's called Folklore. The only thing I can think of, and I don't know what kind of music it is, worse than a Taylor Swift album, is a Taylor Swift folk music album.
But didn't she just release her album the other day?
She's releasing another album. It's funny because she put out an Instagram post to announce that she was doing a surprise drop on Friday. And I'm like, sweetheart, if you're telling us, it's not a surprise.
Yeah. That's like in Full House when Stephanie tells the teacher, hey, on Friday we're having macaroni surprise. And she goes, well, if you're telling us now, then you're ruining the surprise.
Yeah, it's not a surprise if we know about it ahead of time, darling. But to counter that in the world, Kylie released a new single today. So yay.
Okay. So is it a folk album?
I don't know. It's called Folklore. So I don't know if it's a folk album or not. But.
So, okay. So I want to bring up something that we've kind of hinted here before about American entitlement.
Well, hinted at? You mean the entire segment we just talked about?
Right, but now we're well, okay, yes. But now we're like
a different form of it.
Yes, a different form. Okay. So, you know, we've mentioned here, and what everybody's talking about now in terms of the coronavirus is, should you wear a mask? Should you not wear a mask? Here in Dade County and in Broward as well, it's already mandatory to wear a mask.
By fines.
And you could be fined. And of course, people are screaming bloody murder. You are...
My rights.
American entitlement. Right.
For some reason, when we were saying my rights, I just kept thinking of like the Fergie song, "My rights, my rights, my rights, my rights."
From My Humps. So,
Did
you see today? Because, you know, a lot of times when they make social, you know, comparisons of government, you know, one of the easiest ones to use is Canada, because not only is Canada our friendly neighbor to the north, but they're two countries that are very similar.
Demographic makeup, just socioeconomic, everything.
You cross a bridge to Canada and you were like, I'm not in a different country.
Yeah,
you know?
it's not always...
Like when I lived in Michigan, I used to go to Canada all the time, and it's like, oh, I'm not in the U.S. anymore. Like,
yeah, until I hit a Timmy Hortons,
exactly, yeah. And when you're Tim Hortons, you think of Robin
Sparkles.
Yes,
from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes. Where were you when Robin Sparkles had her breakdown? But anyway, so a lot of times Canada and the U.S. are compared, you know, for things like violence, like what, you know, like how is it that Windsor, Canada, which is across the street from Detroit, you know,
there's
has
no crime,
but Detroit, you know, like stuff like that.
Right.
But I think that one of the most obvious things they aired this week, and I posted it on my personal Instagram, which was the video, and it went viral, of Niagara Falls.
Oh, yeah, you posted it was a video or a picture?
So there is I posted a picture, but it's from a video. So Niagara Falls, as everybody knows, there's two sides to Niagara Falls. There's the Canadian part and the American part. The Canadian part is the prettier part, but we love all of Niagara Falls.
Exactly.
So, but you know, come on, it's a Horseshoe Falls. It's like way nicer. Like, it's way bigger. Like, I remember that when I first went to Niagara Falls, you know, again with the American mindset, I'm like, esta es la parte americana. El Chanco ese. But then you see the majestic Horseshoe Falls
with the lights and with everything.
This is a waterfall.
Yeah,
that is a waterfall. Anyway, but back to what I was saying. So this video went viral, and it was all over the news this week, of the two different little boats that take you within the falls. Right? And one of them was the Maid of the Mist, which is American.
I was going to say, that's
and the other one was called the Hornblower, which is Canadian.
Well, then.
So on the Hornblower, there were 8 people, 8 very conscious...
Well, when you're only 8 people, I mean, you can be as socially distant as you want.
Allowing.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's how much you were allowing.
Yes.
Okay.
Very, you know, socially conscious Canadians.
Okay.
And on the Maid of the Mist, había tremenda pachanga.
Oh, parecía un sardinero.
Yes. Everybody in their blue raincoats.
And like packed in there.
But they probably had the raincoats, but not the masks.
Not the masks.
And they were enjoying... They were having a ball, tremenda pachanga on the Maid of the Mist. I'm sure they were playing either bachata or reggaeton. You know, like...
It's upstate New York. I don't think so, but okay.
Pero era una pachanga, you know?
Definitely pachanga.
So I was like, you know, that is like the perfect like example of American entitlement. Because you're talking about two countries that are...
comparable. I mean,
very similar, you know, not only in government, but just all around. And one of them is like, oh, hell no. If you want to watch the falls, it's going to be, you know, 8 or 10 of you
uno
for one boat, uno en cada esquina. Yeah. And the other one, it's like, bang. Ven. La niña, mete la niña.
Oye, hay un huequito ahí. Métete, no te preocupes.
You see the picture. I mean,
I saw the picture. It looks like a pleasure cruise for Smurfs.
Yes. Like, it's like, this is like packed. Like,
to the gills.
Yes. It's not like they weren't even trying.
It's almost like people who couldn't get on the Canadian side just went over.
Yes.
And they were just like, fuck it, they don't care.
It's not like, bueno, the American one has more. So then, you know what I thought about in terms of American entitlement? And let's not get it wrong. We love the United States and we love being American.
Yep.
But,
listen,
you know,
I am a Dyed in the wool capitalist. So,
but that doesn't mean you can't criticize your own, right?
Okay.
Do you want a greater sense of entitlement? You're gonna laugh. The fact that we are the only country in the world that does not use the metric system.
I'm not learning it now.
But really,
I'm just telling you right now.
But think about it. Like,
we're the only ones, right?
The only ones that does not use the metric system.
Even North Korea?
Okay, I don't know about North Korea.
They're a holdout for a lot of things.
I don't know about North Korea, but for all intents and purposes, in general, we're the only country that doesn't use the metric system. We use the U.S. customary system. I love. There's this meme that because I follow this page on Instagram about like those Americans, and it's by Brits.
Okay, yeah.
That they'll have like it'll be a meme of like, let's say a newspaper or clipping, like an online clipping of something, and it'll say like hole in street, three washers deep. 3 washers deep opens up in the interstate. And then they're like, those damn Americans using any form of measurement but the metric system.
I could probably.
Hole opens up the size of 2 elephants. God forbid
you say 2 meters, yeah.
But I'm like, coño, that is it. Well, they tried to introduce a metric system
back in
the
the 70s, yeah.
And they were like, hell no.
It didn't take? Or?
It just, no. I mean...
No, I'm asking, like, what was the reason that it didn't take, I guess is my question.
People didn't
it just
didn't relearn it,
That's true.
Now, and it's funny because I've actually thought about this. I'm like, okay, I think that nowadays, right, it would be easier because we all have phones. So there could be an app where you could be like...
Just conversions, that's it.
Yeah, conversions.
Yeah.
Right? And it'll be so much easier, right?
That's true.
Because even in like Cuba, like...
it's kilometro. Yeah.
Yeah, and like our parents, they're like... They never say, tienes 100 de temperatura, tienes fiebre.
That's true. So it's 38
or 39. No, I think like 39 is de templanza or something like that.
I thought 37 was de templanza.
Or something like that, right? Yeah. But they won't say 100.
Listen, the first time that I used an American, when you get older that you have to start taking your own temperature, and I had to use like an American thermometer, I had no idea what was going on. I thought I was about to die.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this shit is like a 99.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing of American entitlement are roundabouts.
How is that?
So roundabouts in Europe and even in Latin America, they're very common.
Right.
And the thing is that roundabouts this has been proven, are a lot safer than intersections. Because when you enter a roundabout, you have to yield.
You have to pay attention.
You have to pay attention. You have to yield, and the cars are going slower than at an intersection. Because usually in an intersection, an accident happens when a car is running a light.
Right. Yeah.
And when the car is running a light, they're going at a much higher rate of speed.
Because they're trying to get through the light.
And generally, they crash into a car that's not moving.
True.
Whereas in a roundabout, usually the crashes are like,
fender
somebody
bender.
hit me from the back or a fender bender or something. Like there's proven stats on this. And I think the fatalities in like countries that have roundabouts are like in the 20%, and like ours is like in the 90%.
We're number one.
Right. So I'm like, American entitlement. And then there's been cities here that the mayor has, there's a city in Indiana, which is the city that has the most roundabouts. And the mayor, which I thought this was really interesting and odd at the same time, when he became mayor, one of his first
decrees,
was that he was going to build roundabouts. And I'm like,
he ran on the roundabout platform?
Yes, I'm like, is that what you ran on, roundabouts?
Also, isn't that a great thing to say? I'm gonna run on the roundabout platform.
Yes.
Is the platform a roundabout?
I'll be like, bate que bate, el chocolate, bate que bate. Anyway, so yeah. And it's proven that they are much safer.
It's one of those things that I don't think about, but it makes sense.
They're much safer, but Americans don't want roundabouts.
I know.
And I'm like, even when it saves your life...
Hello, people, when the whole seatbelt thing was happening, they were like, no, because that'll leave me trapped in the car or whatever. It's like, no, but you could be flung outside your windshield and die on impact.
Then you want to be trapped.
You want to be trapped. Yeah. Might lose a leg, but you might lose your life.
Oye, ¿qué me dices tú de Kanye West?
Oh my God, this is why it's creepy, but I get it. I was literally about to bring that up right now.
Well, yeah. This is why we have a podcast.
I was like, this is the definition of why you and I have a podcast. Oh, Kanye. You know,
I'm sure that if Kris Jenner, somebody would interview her now, she'd be like, "It's great, we're great, we're wonderful,
great. You know, we're working through it.
We're great, we're great. We're working through it, and we're gonna be stronger.
You're gonna be stronger. You know, these are the types of challenges the families face.
And this will also be in Keeping Up with the Kardashians next season.
Right, Chloe, come talk about your migraines.
Yes.
Right. I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him, and I never thought I would say this. I feel bad for Kim.
Okay, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate, which generally you're the one who plays devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Do you believe it's a legitimate breakdown because he is diagnosed bipolar?
Right, correct.
So this could be an episode of mania,
right?
Which people, I don't know which bipolar he's diagnosed, if it's either one or two, but he is diagnosed bipolar. And generally, when people that are bipolar have episodes of mania, this is what happens.
Result, yeah.
And depending on the bipolar that you have, whether one or two, they're either more drastic and longer than
or manageable
than one to the other. So, do you legitimately think he's having some type of mental health issues right now, or do you think it's part of the Kanye West / Kim Kardashian Jenner clan, promotion and controversy and headlines at any cost?
I don't think it. Okay, if the Kardashian side of it is involved, I don't think anybody told Kim. I read her statement. When he's saying things, when he's tweeting like a manic person, saying things like, "I've been trying to divorce her forever" and things like that.
I mean, he even said about like aborting their first child.
Yeah, that to me is not like. And at this point, we've all been around long enough to see the Kardashian publicity train. That's not how it works.
You think so?
That's not how.
But you, again, playing devil's advocate.
And we've also seen Kanye do his Kanye thing.
Right. Wouldn't you also say that, like, again, them, because they've been around already for a long time. Right. So right now, to keep the attention on them, I feel like it's harder and harder because, like, you're not fresh anymore.
Right.
So
I'd like to think that nobody would put themselves in a position of having to defend their marriage in the public eye that way. Mm-hmm. That way.
Fair enough.
That way. Especially once they have kids. If they were not parents, I would think differently.
I mean, I feel bad for anyone who has a breakdown, especially publicly.
Yeah.
Because, people, the media, they're not kind to celebrities who have
issues.
I mean, and they laugh at them and ridicule them and all that. And yeah, like the stuff that he has said has been really off the wall, even for him.
Right.
So it's unfortunate, but you know what? But here we are talking about them.
No, I mean, absolutely. But I do think that in his mind somewhere, I do think that his bid for presidency is serious within the Kanye ego.
The Kanye universe.
Right, because we know Kanye has a huge ego. Kanye is an egomaniac. I don't know if he's a narcissist, but definitely an egomaniac.
All I know is if that man messes up the election for
for
Biden, yes,
yeah,
we're gonna be upset.
We're gonna have words with Mr. West.
Yes,
I just don't. I mean, he's just not saying things that make any sense.
Well, but has he ever?
No, but there's always been like that. Like I said, it's that weird like Kanye
and
logic.
Let me tell you something. I love him. I have all his records. I think when it comes down to his craft, he is definitely one of the best. He is insanely
super talented. I mean, he's
good as a performer. Like he will knock your socks off. But unfortunately, he's, for better or for worse, depending on the way that you see it, he's become one of these people that you don't talk about the music anymore.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, taking his mental issues off the table, he's become the definition of separating the art from the artist.
Yeah,
which is hard when you're a rapper, also, right? Because when you're a hip hop artist, you tend to, especially you write your own music. At what point can you separate the art from the artist? Because we're not talking about like a Celine Dion who's just known for singing sweeping love ballads. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Celine could be a raging racist off stage, but well, it's not what she sings about. So you kind of like can differentiate the two.
Celine Dion can't be a racist.
Of course not.
She has too much of a sense of humor.
It's true.
Racist people aren't funny.
They're not funny. They're not. They think they are.
But they're not.
They're not. But it's very sad. I think it's sad to see it happening on a public stage like that. And I think people are I mean, they're mocking him clearly. But the problem is also like, he's an adult, and if he doesn't want help, you can't.
Right, but I also think
you can try to Baker Act him.
Right, but I also think that him and them,
it's a toxic combination.
Him and the Kardashians, this is a result of their own doing. Because when you choose to live your life so publicly, because there's, obviously when you're a public figure, your life is going to be dissected. Right? But there obviously, we know there's a difference between a public figure or even celebrities that share certain things with the public and them. Right?
Yeah, because we were all invited into their bed, essentially.
I mean, literally.
Oh, yeah, literally,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, they go to freaking doctor's appointments and they take that. And I start thinking from a legal perspective. I'm like, coño. See, like, due to HIPAA requirements, a hospital can't even admit or deny if you are a patient there. And these freaking people are going, with the cameras to see like their like intimate medical records. I'm like, you know how I feel about that and how I feel about them. But I'm like, unfortunately, this is a product of your own doing because you are so public and you have built an empire on being so open and making your shit so public that this is part of it now.
Yeah, you can't cry about it now.
Yeah. This is part of it now. So, like, whenever they say, like, oh, we want the media's, we hope the media is,
respects our privacy.
Respects our privacy. No, you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, I'm going to build my money and my empire on the media, on paparazzi following me, on everybody knowing my business, on me being open to the world. But then when I don't want to, no, I want my privacy. You can't have it both ways. Right. And that is my problem with them. Because,
this isn't like they just, like, they got you walking to the store.
At this point in time, they're enough of a brand name that if they really wanted to, like, shut off the cameras, they could.
And they could keep going.
And they could keep going through their makeup lines or
all the products,
whatever products and endorsements that they have.
Or just be influencers on Instagram.
Whatever. And you don't have to share every single personal detail of your life. But they continue to do it. That's like that whole fight.
10 plus years
that
later.
whole fight that, Kim and Courtney had that, 10 months later we're still talking about and it's premiering. Well, they had a fight, right?
Like siblings do?
Yes. And then, because it was recorded when it was recorded, it made the news. But now we're talking about it again because now that season is premiering. Okay. So now Courtney apparently left the show.
Oh, okay.
Right, because she wants more privacy and she wants more time with her kids. Right. So everybody's talking about their fight. Everybody talked about their fight then and now they're talking about it now. It's like when people like start questioning whether you legitimately had a fight with someone or whether somebody's mental state is legitimate or it's a
publicity.
Or a publicity stunt, I think that's time for you to be like, you know what?
Let's reassess our
we had a
priorities.
run.
Yeah.
We built an empire. We're freaking billionaires. It's time to like move on.
Yeah.
Because, it's like everything you are is public.
Where does it begin and end?
Yeah. Yeah. So this whole downward spiral that he's having, I feel bad for him because, I'm like one of the most sympathetic people there are, and I would hate I absolutely hate when public figures are going through some shit and people just knock them down because it's like, that's the last thing you need. Right. But unfortunately with him,
he's in the Kardashian world.
And he's been very, very, very much part of that,
Right.
And embraced it and, gone with it. So, I don't know. I mean, if he really is sick, I hope he gets he is. He is. Yeah. He gets the help that he needs and he, moves on and I hope they're well. But I mean, I don't know. If I was them, I would have called it quits a long time ago. But I'm not them, and I don't have their money. So I was going to say, but we have the podcast.
We have the podcast. Maybe one day, we'll never take the podcast into our doctor's appointments, though.
No,
I know. Wants to see me go to the podiatrist?
No, especially a podiatrist.
I know.
So but anyway, well, our guest this week.
Yes. So this week we have, it's funny because you weren't able to make it, and our guests are from the Latinos Out Loud podcast. Normally they are 4. 2 of them couldn't make it. So it's basically half of Pero Let Me Tell You
and half of
Latinos
LOL.
Out Loud of LOL. They're part of the Revolver Network. They're, as I said during the interview, they also have one of the names that I absolutely think is brilliant because their name is Latinos Out Loud. LOL. It's like, it was right there. They're really cool cats. I apologize in advance because me and Rachel, turns out we both have a background in marketing and we knew a lot of the same people. So we kind of went off on a little tangent there and did a little market speak. But super, super chill guy, guys we chatted with. And so here we go without further ado. All right, mi gente. So as we said, we have with us today 2 of the hosts of the Latinos Out Loud podcast, which I have to say, I love the name of our podcast, but if I had to pick one that I'm kind of jealous existed, it's definitely one that uses LOL as its name, and yet it's Latinos Out Loud. I am here with Rachel Strauss-Muniz and Jaime Fernandez. So thank you guys for joining us today.
What up? That's hilarious. Thanks for the name props. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hello.
Listen, I am all about damn it, that's a better name. Because you guys have been on Spanish Aquí Presents as well. And
yes. Shout out.
When they had their segment called Que Te Pica, I'm like, why didn't we think of that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's good. It's good.
That's insane.
The only thing with LOL is that if you Google it, you're probably not gonna get our podcast at the top of the Google search. You're gonna be like, LOL. I'm looking for LOL. 500 things.
That's fair enough, but it's still clever. Damn it! I'm giving you guys credit. All right.
No, I know.
Take the credit, Jamie.
I'm gonna take the credit. I'll do that. I'll do it.
Take the credit.
Take the credit.
Now, how long have you guys been doing your podcast now?
We've been doing our podcast for 3 years now.
Oh, just like us. Okay.
Amazing. We're three-nagers together.
I love it. Three-nagers.
Three-nagers.
But like our seasons are like by not yearly. So I feel like we've had 8 seasons. It's like, oh my God, our spring season is premiere, and then we got our fall season. And don't forget Christmas.
I don't know who we think we are. We're going into our 8th season and decided to go beyond the 4 real seasons of the year and create more. I'm not sure how the math works out there, but I don't know who we think we are.
Whatever, you're a podcast for all seasons. That's who you are.
Oh, you heard that? Oh, y'all.
So how did the idea come about? I mean, one of the things that we love is obviously, we're a Latino podcast, fronted by 2 Cuban Americans out of Miami. So obviously we recognize the need for that existence, that representation. Is that kind of where this was born out of? How did you all come together? Because there's 4 of you. We only got 2 of you today, but there is 4 of you.
Jamie.
They're just looking at each other like, I don't know who wants to tell the real story.
Well,
well,
because I didn't come in at the beginning of the podcast, right? I'm like I was like a 3rd person choice.
Damn.
They had an original guy. Shout out Andrew Santiago, who was the original 4th person, and then there was one other person, Danny Garcia, who was 2nd, and then I came in 3rd. It was like, all right, we need someone that needs a place to stay, and Jamie's not gonna leave. So we know he needs a lot of attention. He'll stay around for a while. So but I mean, I knew everyone in the. I've known Rachel, Mike, and Frank now, and more Rachel and Frank even longer for 15 years, right?
Oh wow!
Now it's become 15, give or take, maybe.
Right.
But and so we've just always been aligned together as friends, comedically. We're in a sketch group together. So that's how I see how we came together. I don't know if Rachel, how did the show become something that you actually had from idea to concept?
Yeah, because now we've established that Jamie is the Heather Locklear of Latinos Out Loud. He's the special guest star, came at the end and stuck around forever.
Yeah. She was a hit on Melrose Place.
She was.
That's a really great toss, Jamie. because you said it best. Like the foundation of us is friendship. And then we turned into colleagues in comedy. And then around 2016, early 2017, Bago and I think we're somewhere chilling. And he was like, yo, let's do a podcast. And I was like, give me a break. Nobody listens to podcasts. You know, come on. What are you, stupid?
I think Rachel was more like, what's a podcast?
No, come on. I knew what it was. I just didn't know it was free.
That's for NPR. That's not, you know.
That's what I thought. I'm like, what are we, AM radio funny now? Like, get PT out of here, whatever the acronym is. I can't even think. But anyway, we're sitting there chilling, and he's like, let's do a podcast. And I was like, you know, before I like put a total halt to this, let me do a little bit of research. So I went home, did some research, asked my confidants, you know what I mean, and really thought about it. I didn't really think about it that much. I just asked my husband if I could do it. I asked my man if I could do it. He said yes. And then I was like, all right, I'm in. And then we just actually doing the research, all jokes aside, we really did see this like lacking catalog of Latino-centric content in the podcast space.
Yep.
And then we were like, well, we do have some stuff that could live pretty well audibly. We also have a background of doing online radio back when that was the newest thing. Remember back in my day when, you know.
Back in dial-up. Listen, I'm old enough to remember back in the day. How's that?
When there
that
were
was it.
internet cafes.
Oh, yes. I'm internet cafe old, yes.
That we're on the same page, all of us. So then, to make a long story short, we have that in our pocket as well, and understanding that dynamic and chemistry and what we could do audibly. And then the rest kind of just came very organically as far as the content and who was eventually the four horsemen and woman. And then like the content itself, Jamie as a very strong writer and head writer of Room 28 really takes the show concepts and segment ideas to a whole other level, having developed some of them himself. But I just, you know, really love that process of yours where it's like, I never knew something could be so funny audibly. True talk.
Who knew?
I heard Eddie Murphy raw audibly. That shit is hilarious. But I as a sketch comedian, Jamie, I don't know if you could talk to this too, but like I at first wasn't sold on like everything living audibly, but then I'm like, oh shit, yeah. It works.
Yeah, because Room 28 is your comedy troupe, right? It's your sketch comedy that you guys do up in New York, or is it New Jersey?
New York.
Okay.
New York. Any subway car, you know, in New York, you can find us.
So when people yell Showtime, it's just you four putting on a comedy show with lots of gymnastics.
Putting on a comedy show, and they have to be, you know, we have to write them between each stop. So pretty much like 15-second sketches.
Depending on whether or not somebody got sick at that stop, you might have a while before they start that train up again.
Actually, the A train, which I normally ride, has it goes from 59th Street to 125th Express. That's the perfect time if you were to do a sketch. If you do a sketch on a train, that's the train to do it.
See, I would have said do it on the L, because the L is never going anywhere, so you've got all the time in the world.
Delayed comedy. But no, I mean, and going by Richard, I mean, I was a fan of audio comedy because I grew up listening to stand-up, stand-up albums, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and you said Eddie Murphy raw like was really funny, but I used to listen to all those stand-up audio stuff, and so if it's funny, it's funny. You know what I mean? You don't necessarily always need the visual. You can paint a picture with your words.
Right. Ooh, you guys are like audio artists. I love it.
You can Bob Ross it with your words.
You just put a little tree there. So I gotta say though, one of the things I love about you guys, and I mean we've had a lot of we share a lot in common. We've had a lot of guests on our show that you guys have had on your show. Chris Garcia, who did Scatter, Daphne Rubin Vega, who was a fucking stitch on your show, by the way. She's actually one of my favorite guests because it was one of those, one of the first like big names, right? So I didn't know how to approach it. And she was just like, so like, whatever, chico, I'm Daphne, you know, like, you know, it's super like down to earth. Cool. I loved it. She's a super cool chick. Yeah. But one of the things I also love that you guys have done, you know, your more recent episodes is you've also had people on who are not quote unquote, you know, famous celebrities, but who are talking about things that really are educational and informative for the Latino community. You know, you had teachers on there, you've had investment, you know, people who have a background in investment banking and things like that to talk about, you know, Latinos, here's what to do with your money. You know, don't put it under your mattress. Did that, you know, I think whenever, I'm going to speak for myself, when we started this, you know, it's very easy to say, well, let's go for the big name. Because the name is going to get us the listeners, and it's fun. Who doesn't want to hear, you know, the kids from Spanish Aquí Presents, you know, talking and having a good time, right? But we found also that we were starting to try to have journalists and, you know, and people who are not as quote unquote famous. Did that happen organically for you as well, or is it something that you kind of collectively came together and made a conscious decision?
I think that, you know, that was really. That started from Jump Street, to be quite honest. We always had a mission of filling voids, whether it was in the podcast space or whether it was as hyper-focused as covering the topics that need to be covered through the lens of comedy. Mm-hmm. And we stuck to that criteria and mission from Jump Street. And for us, it wasn't really... I don't think it's ever been about the listens, the downloads, the, you know what I mean? Right. The, oh my God, it's the, like, that is great.
The money.
Oh, whoa. It's about the money. What do you think we're doing this whole thing for?
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something. As somebody who does the podcast, I can tell you it's not about the money, people. All right. Now, if you want to get lots of free, you know, Bamba socks, like, you are in the market. They will send you that. No, back up that Bamba truck's, you know, truck, but yeah. No.
But we always had this like network too of people like Ariel Pereira, the financial expert, and Jose Wilson, the teacher. Those people are like in our network, in our hood, and are doing so well in their space that we gotta put them in the spotlight and reach. Because like Jose was talking a lot about, to your point, like teaching at home under this quarantine. He was so helpful, and listeners hit us up and were like, yo, good looking. And that's what we want out of this podcast, for our listeners to all say, yo, good looking. Like good looking out on teaching us about a new career path within entertainment that we could do with this communications degree. Or like, you know, good looking out on letting me know that I need to start financially investing like ASAP.
I'm already late to the damn game. Thanks.
Right. So I think that helps us help the community. And then it just feels good all around. You know, it just feels like we're doing something with our comedy and we're moving people forward while making them laugh.
Yeah, no, I think it's super important. And that's, you know, because we've made it a point to do the same thing, you know, whenever we can. And we have a platform, you know, let's use it for something, right? Especially, you know, given the current, you know, state of things, right? Have you guys felt a little bit more... Oh, this is going to sound so self-serving, but go with me on it, that our voices count a little more now because we are people of color who have a platform, that, you know, people are kind of looking to you a little bit more to speak up?
Yeah, I mean, definitely now, you know, I feel like it comes in waves, you know what I mean? And you hopefully, you hope that, like, it's not just you know, a fad or the current climate, and you hope it's something that has you know, legs and staying power. You know, kind of like when Ricky Martin performed at the Grammys, everybody thought, oh, okay, now, you know, here we are. But then, you know, that was the way, that was the Ricky Martin wave. But I mean, now that, you know, we're in serious times, people are talking about things, you know, that normally was a little taboo, right? Or people were afraid to talk about. Now people are having discussions about the most raw subjects. I mean, you know, a lot of it is race, and race is a conversation that never goes away, but sometimes it's not, people haven't always been comfortable kind of talking about it, especially in a comedic podcast or a podcast where we're like, hey, we're having fun, guys, but we don't want to, like, you know, we don't want to bring down the party with some serious talk, but I feel like we have felt that we have to tweak what we originally thought the podcast was gonna be. You know, we were like, we're just gonna be funny. We're gonna have fun. We don't want to bring in, and now we're like, yo, let's really delve into these topics. And like you said, like the listeners was, you know, they're growing with us, and they want to hear more of us, other sides to us. Right. And I do have a responsibility to not just kind of give them the fluff. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to answer the question from a different perspective because that's so content heavy. On the flip side of it, I do feel like certain advertisers and brand partners are like having interesting conversations with us now.
Right.
And I would like to think that it's because they're getting it and that they understand that we are one of the voices like you guys of la gente, la comunidad.
Yeah.
We're a very, very viable conduit to reach these people. So I feel like it is happening slowly and now more, I guess, with more frequency than in the past. But it's also a testament, and you know this, doing this for 3 years, this is so much work. And if we put it in, we'll see the output. We've been putting in the work like you guys. So it does feel good in that regard. And I'm happy that certain brand partners and, advertisers seem to be getting it. We got to keep going and let them know.
It's funny you mentioned, corporate America, right? Let's broaden the umbrella, because my day job is I'm in marketing. I've been doing it for about 15 years. I'm focusing majority of my time on multicultural marketing. But I feel like, to your point, I'm seeing a little bit of an uptick that I saw a few years back when I first started. Like when U.S. Hispanics became a thing, like all of a sudden people knew we were alive because we were going to be the biggest majority minority, right? Like we were the fastest growing minority. So everybody wanted to do U.S. Hispanic. Everybody wanted to do U.S. Hispanic. And then a little less. And then a little less. And then a little less. And they started saying, well, but it's total market. They're watching ABC. We'll just get them there. I'm curious to see, and I hope that you're right, Rachel, that this isn't just a pendulum. This isn't just like, hey, look, these people exist again. Yes. That it's like, shit, you know what? We were so gung-ho and we dropped the ball. So let's do it right this time. Not just, we'll check the box and we'll be on Univision, Telemundo, BET, and look at us. We are doing it. No, they're going to put in the work. I really hope that's the case.
I feel the same way. And it's so interesting. I also have a marketing background. I put in 17 years into corporate marketing, also focusing in the multicultural space. I taught it at the college level for 5 years. Oh, wow. And I left it all for comedy. It's hilarious. Go ahead, laugh about it, everybody. It's so stupid.
You followed your dreams, love. You followed your dreams. That's not stupid. That's beautiful. It's
totally, completely. Yes, I am following my dreams now, but I have such a passion for it. Like it's like it definitely is still like, because I want to see our people win. Yeah, that's all it is.
Exactly. You know it's like, damn it, I'm more than just a language. I'm more than just Univision. I'm more than, and yes, that's part of it. You know what? Yes, absolutely. But don't pretend that because you've, checked that box of, well, I put some money over here, that's the be all end all of who we are. I mean, look at us here. We're 3 Latinos talking. And I think we've said maybe 3 words in Spanish, not because we don't speak it, not because it's not who we are, but it just has to happen organically,
That's crazy. Wow. And we have to talk offline about.
Oh yeah. We're going to connect for sure, because I want to hear all about like where you worked and trade, some war stories. I did a couple years up in New York, so.
We must have mutual connections. It's going to get juicy.
Girl, I'm gonna hit you up on the LinkedIn after this, and we're going to have all the same connections. It's going to be crazy.
I think going off on that, though, I think that's what podcasting is a great space, because you get the variety of voices that Latinos have. You know what I mean? I said this somewhere else, but, you can have a show about Latinos just talking about sports, because, Latinos talking about politics, Latinos talking about anything. You know what I mean? And it's just, that's what we don't have really in the the public eye, like as far as mainstream. We don't have a variety of our voices. We get one thing on the air, and it's judged on that one thing, and it's like and it's like, maybe this is not my thing, but that's Latino, it's my people, I'm going to support it, but I also would like to have something, my thing also right here, and then have something here. So I don't know. Yeah.
And if that one thing doesn't work, they're not there. It's not a viable audience. All of a sudden, because the one thing that was put on air didn't work,
you're off the plan.
That's it. You're thank you for playing. But I think also just this format allows conversations to happen in a more realistic, organic way than, even just your average talk show. You guys have done it. You've interviewed people who are, ultimately they're there to promote a project, but you wind up talking about more. Whereas when they go on a late night chat show, it's like, all right, you got 3 minutes. What's your funny story? We're going to show your clip, and then I'm going to throw a commercial. Here it's like, what did you have for dinner last night? And it could be such a stupid conversation, but it could just be anything you want it to be. I love this format. I know I'm preaching to the choir with you guys, but.
Yeah, we could talk all day. I have admittedly, I was so against it at first. Like, I just wasn't educated about it. How bad podcast space and gods. I'm sorry, because now I am like such a preacher. I'm such a I'm evangelizing the word of podcast through the mountains. Like, it's so amazing how niche, or how,
Who you calling a niche?
What did you call me?
Yeah.
Guys. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I was having this conversation with my sister-in-law the other day, and she's a teacher. I'm like, do you know how many teacher podcasts there are out there? Like, all the frustrations that you have, or like the challenges you have. Listen to one of these podcasts. They're so helpful. When I was going through my infertility journey, I turned to podcasts and anonymous message boards, because that's where I got information, heard like fellow stories, like from fellow women suffering. And then also I was able to post on those boards anonymously. So I got my like weird circular conversation through podcasting and the internet when I really needed some help.
Do you think that's something that maybe for Latinos specifically, and I know I keep harping on Latinos, but that's, it's what we are, right? That's the only experience I can speak to, right? I can't speak to being, a black woman in Wichita. I'm not a black woman in Wichita.
But she's inside of us.
She is. She's fighting right now for space with the Asian German lesbian inside of me, but that's a whole other podcast.
I gotta listen to that one.
Yeah,
send me a link to that one.
I will. It's on. I will share it. It's an OnlyFans page, so it's a little. There's a paywall, but you can get through it. I'll give you a code.
Okay.
But you were just talking about, in your infertility journey, podcasts helped and the anonymous boards and all that. Do you think that podcasts are affording Hispanics an opportunity to get information they may not even know they needed? In a way that makes it feel approachable. Like you said, oh shit, I am not alone. I'm not the only one who's going through this or who has these feelings. Because there's a lot of shit in our community that's still taboo. As many strides as we've made, there's a lot of stuff out there that people are like, oh, therapy, oh, this, oh, I don't talk about that out loud, but I hear some people going through the same stuff I'm going.
Well, Jamie, I don't know if you want to comment also, but I think like the listener feedback speaks for itself. We have these meetings, these prep meetings, and we're frequently at a place where we're like, wait, guys, is this on brand for us to talk about? And those conversations always end up something like this. Fuck it, we need to talk about it. Right. And then when we talk about it, then the listeners respond, and then they're like, yo, thank you for covering this topic. Or, al revés, like sometimes the listener will hit us up on Instagram and be like, I really would like you guys to talk about this.
Yeah.
Topic. And then we bring it to the meeting, and then we're all like, oh shit, yeah, for sure. So it's like this weird smorgasbord of like input and output. But I agree. I do feel that podcasting is opening some doors, maybe. I don't know if there's research to prove it, but therapy is such a good topic, like podcasts like Latinx therapy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. She's brilliant, and she's Latina, and she's sharing her knowledge and experience, and she's got to be helping people out. But it ain't like there's like a focus group like, hi ma'am, excuse me, did Latinx therapy help solve your anything? Like, how are we ever going to know for sure? But we have to, I go on my gut, and my gut tells me yes, it's helping. Jamie.
No, makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's so much media that you can get information from, right? But I don't know. I think when it comes to just like wanting to hear from Latinos, wanting to hear from other Latinos that are like them in similar situations, then it's not as big of a, there's not as many options, right? You might have an author that you really, you really love, that really speaks to you in their books, and and a show here and there. But I mean, podcasting, like I said, has so much. There's so much variety of voices, and I feel like even in our show we try to have a variety in itself of voices, and that's I learn too. I mean, I don't, I think a big part of interviewing is caring about who you're interviewing, and actually being listening and being interested and asking real questions. Like a lot of our questions are, from like what, there's just like instant reaction type stuff, because we're learning in the same time as we're speaking to people. And that's why it's so great to just kind of get just kind of all these different, we've had Dominicans and Puerto Ricans and Cubans and Venezuelans. Like there's so much to us. There's so much different types of Latinos. And we try to get as many voices out there, and I think that's what just the Latino podcast community is doing in general.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's we have it's weird because we have a shared cultural experience, even though all of our cultures are different. There's nuances, but ultimately there's a through line, and it's not just the language. There's just a lot of the nuances of family life and things like that. Yeah,
I mean, we've talked to people from East LA, and it's like, you're from the West Coast, Mexican, but we're vibing like on the same tip.
Yeah, we get it. It's crazy. I want to shift for a minute because, again, you guys are based out of New York. Congrats on the COVID slope as Florida has decided to take up your mantle. So thank you for that.
Torch to somebody.
Damn it! But I didn't. This is one of those times where I didn't want to be the sixth borough. I didn't want it. Like,
but now the New Yorkers can't go to Florida. Like, that's the place that we would normally go. Be like, I'm going to Florida just to like chill for like 3 months.
Yeah, no, you can't because
you're getting away from COVID, going to Florida. So maybe there's a connection there. I don't know.
We did it on purpose.
To be quite honest, I was looking forward to going to Florida so I can have some babysitters down there because my brother and his whole family are there. So I would have had some helping hands if it weren't for this shit. So thanks a lot. I was supposed to be down there right now.
Well, on behalf of everyone, I'm sorry. On behalf of the entire state of Florida, I apologize. But what I was going to ask is, you guys do have your comedy show, Room 28. How has that been during this crazy time? Obviously, you guys can't perform live. Are you guys doing virtual shows? Are you using it as kind of like, okay, can't perform, let's take a step and have meetings and revamp and see what worked and what didn't and how we can adjust? Like, where's it going?
Yeah, I think it is a period of adjustment for us. I feel like we haven't done a Zoom show yet. I think a lot of us are still just waking up from this kind of bad COVID dream that's not a dream. You know what I mean? It's just we're still kind of recovering, and so there's still uncertainty because it's not over, and so a lot of us have just started doing, writing and doing, still being creative, but in other outlets. And I think we've been kind of maybe finding more of our creative voice in different ways. And eventually we'll reunite in Avenger style and get it together again. But it has been a period of adjustment for us personally. I know a lot of other sketch groups have been out there and doing the Zooms. Rachel, another sketch group she's in, did a whole a really like big time like Zoom show where it was like pre-taped and they had.
Oh shit.
She'll tell you about it, but But as for Room 28, yeah, we've kind of been like, in rehab almost. Yeah, comedy rehab.
Comedy rehab. Well, from what I hear, most comedians eventually wind up in rehab, so I guess that's
right. Not that type of rehab. I don't want to put out. I don't want to put out.
Not that rehab. Got it.
Not that rehab.
And also,
that
in
metaphor.
regard to Room 28, some of the cast members are essential workers, so it's also it's been a little crazy on them. But like Jamie was saying, while we were still being creative on the back end, doing some videos like with McKenna, we did this like quarantine game show. She told us nothing about it. We just had to show up. She asked us questions. It was so much fun. It's on our YouTube page. But for the all-female comedy troupe, Hilarious, those girls are not so much essential workers, but like very creative. Right. And actually, to be quite honest, a few of us are jobless. Like the live element was a huge, income source in this household. Right. So it wasn't just the comedy shows; it was hosting and traveling and doing other stuff and performing. But anyway, with Hilarious, we just decided to, again, do something a little different and be like, fuck it. Let's just see what we can do at home in silos individually and then collectively edit to make it look like a comedy show. And that's what we did. And that's what we're doing again. Our next show will be in mid-August. Nice. And we'll do a YouTube premiere. I'm so proud of these women. You guys, I know you got your man juices and shit. Pause, but you know what I mean.
Whoa, who told?
That's the name of my other podcast, man juices.
There's the bromance thing, and that's real, right? The bromance thing is real. When women are together, oh my God, we're producing stuff like this. It's so fucking magical. It's like our periods align, we're in the writers' rooms together, just bouncing off each other. One would think that the stereotype is true. Oh no, women are catty, probably like a fucking mess. No, it's been so on the contrary. It's magical. I love these women so much. That's awesome. And I want you guys to check out the show, the Hilarious show.
So and they can just go to YouTube and type in Hilarious and
look for the Hilarious show. Okay. We are not the college comedy show from 2010 because that also comes up when you search for Hilarious. But check us out, the Her Hilarious show. Thank you for your support, by the way, both of you.
Of course. Listen, if we don't support each other, who will?
Yeah, we got to. We got to preach that word.
Not our parents.
Okay. I'm way too old for my parents to support me. Honestly, at this point, I mean, I'd welcome it, but they'd be the first one to be like, oye, tú no estás muy arretudo, to be, depending on us for support. See, as it is, whenever I go over, I mean, I will say my mother, every time I go over, she's like, coge, pa que te lleves pa la casa. It's like, if I don't know how to cook or anything, and it's like all these cacharras of, leftovers. It's wonderful. You can never stop, Mom.
Ismael, can I tell you how much I love talking to Cuban people? You have no idea. I don't even know how many dichos you have. Do you guys call it dicho? Like a story behind a word or a fable or some sort of sentence that captures the moment. It's amazing. Is that taught in school in Cuba?
I think it's when you get to Miami off the raft, they automatically just hand you this book. It's written by Jose Marti's lesser-known brother, No Sé Nada Martí. And, it's just all these phrases. No, but, yeah, it's weird. I just grew up hearing them. And, actually, my sister knows way more of them than I do. My sister, sometimes she's younger than me. I mean, we were both born and raised, here in Miami. And sometimes she'll bust out with shit, and I'll be like, where did you hear that from? She's like, Abuela would say it all the time. What, did you never heard it? And I'm like, not enough to commit to memory.
God, don't ever stop, please. It's so great. Stop. I wish I had that skill.
Well, you have other skills. You're part of a comedy troupe. You're probably a hell of a lot funnier than I am.
I don't know about that. Jamie's just a good writer. I'm just a mouthpiece.
All of these are...
She's being humble.
Even if that's true, you know what? That's a skill unto itself. Porque there are people who you could give the funniest shit in the world to say, and they will not deliver. So I mean, it takes two. It takes a village and all that. Pero bueno, guys, I just want to say thank you again. You know I don't want to take up too much of your time. Obviously, Latinos Out Loud. They can find it, I think, every single podcast platform at this point, right? I think you guys are definitely on Apple, because that's where I hear you.
Definitely on Apple, Spotify,
Probably
iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
On
iHeart.
Okay.
On Pandora as well. I think every platform. Pretty much. Although I haven't done research, but I will one day.
Because I have a ghetto app too that has like that. It's on there too. It's like some ghetto podcast site. I'm like,
it probably like pulls from all of the. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a black and white picture of us. Like, I'm like, okay, this looks like.
I love how Rachel's like, I haven't done the research, and in the back of her mind, she's like, it's been 7 years since I've had to do research. I am not in marketing anymore. I have left that life behind.
We used to have to. Hi, I gotta call Wanda and research. Wanda, I need you to pull some. I need to know for Colgate. I gotta put this deck together tomorrow.
Do not tell me you worked for Colgate, because I worked on the Colgate account as well at one point.
When I was at certain Latino publications, I mean, Colgate was always. I always did CPG, and so Colgate was always one of my,
one of your standards.
Clients, or I was pitching to.
So you know what? We definitely have to chat off air, because I bet you we have some of the same shared horror stories.
Oh, Jamie, I'm sorry. Do you feel
sorry? Yeah, sorry.
Nah, I need to brush up on my
marketing
talk.
Cash cow.
Colgate. Okay.
We'll give you a quiz of all of the terms.
Next episode, it'll just be all marketing. Why didn't we invite Jamie back for this?
Jamie knew my stories. You actually knew some of my marketing nightmares.
Oh yeah.
I would vent to him wherever we were, and we were definitely Room 28. All of our Room 28 meetings were at a certain magazine after hours. I used to use the shit out of the conference rooms. You have no idea.
I don't know personally, but I do know that if I was working still at agencies while I was doing this podcast, I'd be doing the same damn thing.
It was great.
Oh, yeah. Cannot complain. So, okay, guys, thank you. And again, Latinos Out Loud and Hilarious. And I know both of you guys, both shows have YouTube pages as well, right?
Yes.
And Room 28 has a
And Room 28, even though we're in, like I said, comedy rehab for the summer.
But there's stuff there.
We still have a lot of stuff. We were on NBC's Bring the Funny, so if you want to
That's right.
check that out on the old YouTube, watch our sketch that we did for that.
Right. And who's not looking for new content to watch nowadays? You know what I mean? We're all looking for new content, so definitely check these guys out.
We actually, right before the quarantine hit, we just came back from Canada. We were at the Toronto Sketch Fest.
Oh, nice.
And then quarantine hit. So there was we were up for an award for Latino Vortex. So that's a video that you guys should check out. That was directed by Saturday Night Live's Oz Rodriguez, formerly at SNL. But check that out. And please follow us at We Are Latinos Out Loud on the socials, at Room 28 Comedy, at me personally. If you want to follow me, I know we're asking you to do a lot. I'm sorry. If you want to keep going, please follow me at Rachel La Loca, RACHEL La Loca.
Get a pen. You want to follow me? J Ferns at Instagram. If you want to, no pressure.
No se sienten obligados, sin compromiso. It's, don't worry.
And my sister-in-law opened a salon, and don't feel obligated to follow her on Instagram. I'm just kidding.
Although it's in Florida, so if you're here,
it's in Tampa. Just say, if you're in Orlando, which I know a lot of you are at right now, just go right there.
Ask for a paloma. Say Rachel sent you.
They do the Brazilian, so go do it.
For men too.
Listen,
Brazilian? You should totally do a Brazilian on your beard.
Shit! At this point, yeah.
I don't know, man. That sounds painful as hell on the chin. I don't know.
I am talking the keratin. The hair straightening, not the waxing. No.
Yeah, I don't think you should put keratin down there. That's just.
Are you sure it's a bad idea? Okay.
I don't know. It seems like a little much.
I'm sure you could market it though if you had to.
Yes, you know what? That's gonna be what you and I get together now and do, Rachel. We're gonna figure out how to market keratin down there.
Keratin down there is already catchy.
That's it.
Already have that in my head. Keratin down there.
Genius. Let's do it right after this.
Okay. Cuídense, guys. Seriously, and I hope that we have the chance to chat again.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Un
you.
abrazo.
Bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
So I think next time we have them on, you should interview the other half.
I know, right?
Just do it that way.
We're Team Blue.
Right, exactly, yeah. And then we're Team Red, and then we'll,
Do you watch Exalton?
I can never say it.
Exalton.
Exalton is one of those shows that I always wanted to watch. I only really watched it for the first time the other day at your house.
Yeah. Okay, so I told you the other day about Exalton. So listeners, have you watched Exalton? It's on Telemundo.
Telemundo, yeah.
So it's this like physical challenge show, and it's like two teams, the red and the blue.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like it's not that it's marketed like American Ninja Warrior, but it's like
it's the closest comparison.
But it's like Telemundo's kind of answer or like what they're giving the Hispanic audience of terms of like physical like challenges and competition and all that. Right. And it's so funny because
also
like
Synergy, they're both NBCU.
And it's funny because like I love American Ninja Warrior. One of our favorite, guests of the podcast.
That's true.
Daniel Leva was on American Ninja Warrior. And Daniel Leva, who is a two-time Olympian, okay? Two-time Olympian, okay? Almost made it, but he didn't actually make it. And the guy is freaking...
He's trained.
He's trained.
His
life has been, acrobatics and like physical and all
making impossible jumps and stuff. Yeah.
And he,
he had challenges.
Yes, and he almost made it, but he ultimately he didn't. Two-time Olympian. And American Ninja Warrior is so freaking hard. It's so freaking hard. And then Exalton is like, go through the circle.
As I was watching it,
pull down the rope.
Yeah,
and I was like, really? Like, is this how hard you're giving it to our people?
And the thing is, what I think is hilarious is that everybody on that show is like, for lack of a better word, like hot. You know what I mean? Like everybody's got like abs and trim and tummies and boobs and whatever. So it's like, okay, these are people who have to have been to a gym.
Yeah.
Because they look like they work out.
As we know, just because you go to a gym and you look strong doesn't mean that you are.
But then, like, to your point, so these are people who
there's people that are built like a refrigerator but can't move one.
Yeah. No, I know. But then they go to this thing and it's just like, here's your challenge. Throw this wet beanbag at a block.
Yeah, that's literally a challenge.
That's literally a challenge, people. We saw it.
Yes.
And I was
swing from the rope.
I was like,
swing from the rope to the other side.
Theoretically, I could do this.
I'm like, mira, in American Ninja Warrior, sometimes you gotta go from like one hanging thing to another by a pinky. Like literally a pinky.
It's
like
all the space
you're
you
hanging from the pinky. And I'm like, y esta gente aquí are swinging from a rope, like... to catch the flag.
There was, I think, the hardest challenge from the one that I saw anyway, where they were like sitting or they were kneeling on a little platform thing, and they had to use like bicycle pedals, but with their arms. I was like, bueno, ese está un poco difícil because if you can't do it fast enough, but that was the hardest one.
Mira, Exalton. The difficulty of the challenges are one grade above Double Dare. It's like one step above Double Dare. That's it. Except of slime, they're doing mud.
Like you could sprain an ankle.
Yes.
Right.
Right. It's not Don Summer. Mark Summers. Right? But it's like just one step above Double Dare. I still think there's some obstacles in Double Dare that are harder. Okay, that one, the Sands of Time where the ping pong balls would fall, that was so hard.
And a little claustrophobic.
Yes, that was so hard. And sometimes the one where you have to stick your hand up the nose to get the flag. It's funny how some people just pull out the flag and other people, una hora.
Those were the ones that I thought were always hard. The ones where you had to like make the mess, like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I'm like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah. No, they're like one step above in terms of difficulty of Double Dare. And it's like, and meanwhile, in American Ninja Challenge,
you just sign away your life.
You literally have to go up a wall with your hands and your feet. Like up 4 stories, and hang by your pinky.
And that's just the middle of the challenge.
Yes, that's not even the finals. That's not even the finals. So yeah, so we're in our last Coke.
We're in last soda time. Yes, we are.
So that is very thirsty. I know I'm giving my soda today.
Who are you giving it to?
I'm giving my soda to. I've read a lot about this. Well, okay, I'm a big fan. And I've been going here for years.
Okay.
But for some reason, in this last week, I've watched a lot of video about their company culture. Mm-hmm. So I'm giving my last soda to Trader Joe's.
Oh, well.
Can I tell you how much I love Trader Joe's?
You might as well have stock. I feel like a good, 3 out of the 4 times that you call me during the week, you're like, oh, hold on, I'm at Trader Joe's. Hold on, I'm at Trader Joe's.
Have I told you one of the happiest moments in my life was at Trader Joe's?
Oh, yes.
Because I was at Trader Joe's when I got the call from you. Hey, I'm moving back down to Miami from New York. I need for you to help me move. And I was
is that why you keep going back? Because you associate it with such
I went outside of the store. I left my shopping cart behind. I was like, what? Yes! The New York saga is over. Yeah, you got it out of your system. But anyway, so no, it's really interesting. So first of all, Trader Joe's, you know that their minimum wage is $15.
Oh wow!
No, yes, I didn't know that. And managers can make between 60 and 70,000.
Wow! Before bonuses?
Well, that I don't know. Oh. But I just love the company culture. They're very big on employees being happy because then that goes down to the customers. And it's interesting because they were saying that Trader Joe's, and when I was watching this, I thought about you from a marketing perspective. They have none.
They don't do anything.
They don't do any advertisement whatsoever. They don't have coupons. They don't have BOGOs, and none of their stuff goes on sale. So why do people flock to Trader Joe's?
That's true.
And
because even Aldi has some advertising.
They're owned by Aldi, actually.
Yeah.
And what I learned was that they are notoriously secretive. They have some the best non-disclosure agreements as to who makes their house brand. Nobody knows who makes their house brand because, as you know, in Trader Joe's, everything is Trader Joe's.
Yeah, brand. There's no Nabisco. There's
very, very few things that are not Trader Joe brand. About 90% is Trader Joe brand, and it's just it's a very big secret. The only thing they've been able to prove is that Stacy's pretzel bites. Pita bites.
Yeah.
Are the ones who make okay. And I think there's something else.
They reverse
that's
engineer
made
them
by PepsiCo.
Okay.
That they make. They make for Trader Joe's. But on the most part, it's very secretive. There was even a guy who was so obsessed with Trader Joe's that he started working at Trader Joe's because he wanted to find out more information on the company. It's a very big secret. Oh, wow. So in all these videos I was watching, they were saying, and I was like, hot dog, that's exactly how I feel. That when you go to Trader Joe's,
I love that it made you say hot dog.
They make you feel like the stuff that you're finding is only at Trader Joe's. Garlic roasted gorgonzola bites. Oh my gosh, it's so good. You need to have them next time you go to my house. Yes. Oh with God, blue cheese. So yes. The dumplings. You have 4 different types of dumplings. You have tiki masala. You have all this type of stuff that when you get it, you're like, let me show you what I got at Trader Joe's today. Oh yeah, and it's a value. El pomo grandísimo de olive oil is only $7.99.
Oh wow,
yeah, it's a value. So the president of Trader Joe's and the creator, who actually passed away recently, he said this, and I thought it was very relevant. Okay. He said, "quote Trader Joe's is for the overeducated and the underpaid people, for all the classical musicians, museum curators, and journalists." But you know what?
You gotta know your audience.
Trader Joe's has it's a more
they're upscale without being upscale.
Yes. Yeah. But it's a certain type of customer at Trader Joe's, and they make it feel
upscale, but it's not like Whole Foods.
No.
Where you walk out of there feeling like you just got taken for a ride.
Yes, it's very cultured bohemian.
Yes, very bohemian.
Cultured bohemian type atmosphere. And it's true, the people that go there wear a lot of amethyst, and are probably into meditating and
a lot of amethyst.
Yeah, and so that's I love Trader Joe's. So I wanted to.
You just wanted to give your last soda to Trader Joe's? And it has to be a generic last soda because you don't know who makes their
I'm
sodas.
giving you a Trader Joe's soda.
Trader Joe's soda.
I mean, you don't like Trader Joe's?
I have to say I've only been to Trader Joe's like maybe twice.
But how
Okay,
how are
here-
you and I as close as you are?
Because
okay, we're going to Trader Joe's.
Okay, fair enough. It's just honestly, it's just because it's one of those things where it's like the parking is so small at the Trader Joe's down here, and so I'm not trying to have that.
Yes.
I'm not trying to deal with it.
Yes.
No.
So, okay. So now that we gave this whole segment and it was
now
not sponsored by Trader Joe's.
I mean, I'm actually gonna give my last soda to
The Heifer Corporation.
not this week, no, to Zappos.
Oh, Los Zapatos.
Los Zapatos, yes. Zappos they're the online shoe store.
Oh, I just thought about something.
And I'm going to hold that thought. I'm going to give it to them because I believe it was this week or end of last week, they announced that they were making a change in one of their selling practices that didn't even dawn on me was necessary. They are now selling single shoes and mixed size pairs for people with physical differences.
I had never thought about that.
I had never thought about that. Like if you're missing a leg, you still have to buy 2 shoes because they only sell them in pairs. Well, now you can go on Zappos and you can buy just the one shoe. Or if let's say you have a prosthetic leg, obviously, the 2 feet are going to be different sizes and shapes and everything.
Never thought about that.
Now you can buy them accordingly.
Wow, that is amazing.
Right? That's why I was like,
See,
I have to give them the last soda because
the type of stuff that is more what we need. Because you know what? Even I like to think of us as woke people, but there's just so many things that you can't.
It's not part of our life,
so
it wouldn't dawn on us.
You can't think of everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's details and things that you just as woke and socially responsible as you try to be,
or empathetic, or
you just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's something I had never thought about. So good for them.
Yep. So that's why
awesome.
I gave them the last soda because I was like, wow.
Right, and they don't need to do that
at all.
That's true. They don't need to do that
because they're not. It's not like they're an underdog.
It's good when corporations do good things.
See, it can be done.
It can be done.
Can be done.
So wow, we both gave it to corporations.
To corporations, yes. More free publicity for them, I guess.
One was very thoughtful and philanthropic, and the other one is
well, I mean, they have good business practices.
A little snooty, but
not snooty because I mean that would be like saying we're snooty.
No, we're not.
Exactly.
We're not. But Trader Joe's is some good shit. So
on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up and head to Trader Joe's.
Anyway, we hope they don't have croquetas and pastelitos at Trader Joe's.
Damn it. You know what? Let's write them a letter.
So we hope everybody listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito from Trader Joe's.
From Trader Joe's, yes.
And that was episode 119, everybody. Have a great Friday and a great weekend.
All right. Bye, people. Cuídense.
Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lambleplatz, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.